morning trade with Moneycontrol. I'm Karunya Rao and we're here to help you navigate the trading day with actionable strategies, sectoral trends and most importantly your queries during the show. So please keep commenting on our feed. We will have your questions addressed towards the latter half of the show. But before we kickstart, let's see what the global handover looks like. US stocks rally as Wall Street looks ahead to the November inflation report and the Fed's December policy meet. All key indices surge over 1% overnight. Asian markets open higher on positive handover. The SGX Nifty signals a flattish start for the Indian market. Meanwhile, oil prices gained 2% overnight on supply concerns. European markets end lower as investors look ahead to Fed, ECB meeting as well as the latest inflation reading. Back home, stocks in the spotlight will be Tata Motors, Kotak Bank, KEC International and VGuard. We also take a closer look at inflation data for November and decode what cooled off the full inflation numbers and what's the latest in commodities. All right, let's get started and talk about commodities first. Manisha Gupta is here with us to discuss the latest surge that we've seen in oil prices overnight. Morning, Manisha. What's happening in the oil markets and what fueled the uptick?
Well, thank you for that, Karunya. We have seen volatility continue as ever. The crude oil prices after declining 10% to the previous week did nearly 3% surge in the overnight market for both crude varieties. Well, 3 or 4 major reasons. One is that the Canada Keystone pipeline to the U.S. Gulf Coast remains shut for a second straight week. It carries 0.6 million barrels per day of heavy crude from Canada to U.S. refiners. That is one. Second is Russia continues to come out with a lot of statements, even now threatening to cut production in retaliation to the price caps. The third reason is the China reopening and the supply disruptions that will continue to hold the premium into the market. But as you said, it is going to be about the U.S. CPI data today, the U.S. Fed rate decision tomorrow. That is what will keep driving the crude prices. But as more and more reports and analysis comes in, more people are expecting the crude prices to stay firm, and perhaps a near-term bottom has been made.
Prices, we discussed yesterday on the show as well that there's been a massive uptick in gas prices. Is that a trend that's likely to continue in the months to come as winter and the temperatures get more severe?
Oh, it does look like that. You have those snowed-in pictures coming in from various Western countries, and that has been supportive for natural gas. So after nearly 12% of gains yesterday, we are trading a couple of percentage points up today as well. Actually, when you look at the UK gas prices, those have gained up by nearly 60% from the October lows. So even as the UK natural gas holdings are near 100%, it clearly is the fear that much of that gas will get consumed in the next couple of months. And where is next gas coming in from is something that they still are decoding.
Okay, all right. I want to circle back to oil prices once again. We understand that they fell about 10% last week, and now that we're seeing some kind of a rebound there. What kind of a trend should we expect for the rest of the year? I mean, rest of the few weeks that are left in this year, because as we all know, the second half is usually low on volumes and overall trading sentiment. So, what kind of a level do you see finally the oil prices closing in 2022 at?
Oh, well, that would really depend on what we see from the U.S. Fed. The Bank of America and the ECB monetary policy on what they might do is pretty factored in. But the U.S. Fed, while 50 basis points has been baked in, but any guidance and statement is what could move the markets. In the meanwhile, the way we are ending this year is as uncertain as we were, a couple of weeks back. So the markets do believe that we could be closing this year around $80 per barrel, so slightly higher from where we are trading right now. Markets do not think that 70 is coming back before we end this year. Okay,
all right. And finally, want to understand what's happening in base metals as well. Copper continues to be on very strong footing, but yes, one thing to see here is that it has cooled off a tad and it's off its 6-month highs. So what's the way forward likely to be?
The most markets believe that since copper is what you will watch out for when you look at one, the economic barometer, and two, everything that you talk about from EVs to renewables to green energy does depend on copper here. And while the second quarter was not so great, we saw 20% of decline. Third quarter has come back quite strongly. The fourth quarter, that is this quarter, is trading in the positive as well, up by nearly 12% for copper. For the 2022, we still are trading in the negative when you look at the dollar terms there. But the markets do believe that since the global primary copper demand is expected to rise by nearly 2% in the next year, and the production is expected to not rise as much, there could be support continuing in case of copper. Most global banks and brokerages do believe that we might average the way we have done in this year or even slightly higher. Goldman Sachs, for one, has been very bullish on copper, saying that it will make new record highs in 2023 and in 2024 as well. If the markets are looking at renewables and a better climate environment, etc., then copper is your go-to metal.
Okay, all right. Before I let you go, I also want to, get in your sense on food inflation as well. We've seen yesterday the CPI inflation number slip below 6% after a gap of 11 months. Food inflation, of course, was the one that has aided the number to a great extent. Talk to us about how commodities, especially agro commodities and the ones which are into food segment, how have they sort of helped ease the inflation levels in the last 1 month?
Pretty good, as you said. The numbers clearly mention that. So everything within the food basket actually has seen a decline. So whether it has been vegetable oil or sugar, cotton, and other food products have seen a decline. But a sharp fall in vegetable prices, and that usually happens during the winter months, is what has been largely been a driver of this downside surprise. Well, for the coming month as well, the expectations with the kind of sowing that we have seen for Rabi, whether it is wheat, which is 25% higher in sense of sowing area as last year. Same is the case with other commodities as well. Pulses, edible oil, everything is looking at a very positive number in sense of sowing, will continue to support the sentiment in the on-ground food prices. And, much of the demand for Diwali and wedding season has been covered in now. So the markets believe that some more stability is what you can expect continuing from here.
Okay, so any of these agri commodities as well that look attractive to buy into for the next few months?
I think what you could look at perhaps is edible oil space that seems to be consolidating now, and markets do believe that there could be some buying here. The other one that I would watch is rubber. That demand seems to be coming back. Coffee prices are stabilizing as well after those initial couple of months of decline. So these are 2 or 3 agriculture commodities I would keep an eye on.
All right, Manisha, thanks much for joining in with an all-round update on what's happening in the commodities space, especially crude and gas prices, which continue to stay quite strong, especially crude, seeing that overnight spike of 3% odd. Okay, let's shift gears and talk markets. Shrikant Chauhan from Kotak Securities joins us right now. Morning, Shrikant. How's the trade setup looking like? The handover from the US has been quite good, quite encouraging. But SGX is still looking pretty quiet and muted. So what kind of a day should we expect?
Good morning, Karunya. Good morning, everyone. I think, the markets are clearly waiting for the outcome, which is going to come from the US markets. So today's CPI number and tomorrow's Fed meeting, this will keep the market range bound. That's the overall view. Even if we go through with the option statistics, then based on that, around 18,500 and at 18,600, there is huge amount of fall writing. And that is why we are seeing markets are in the range. Also, if we go through with the India weeks, then there also we are not seeing any major activity. That means traders are not that anxious about the entire trending pattern of the market. So they are expecting market to remain in a range, and they are keeping the market within the range of 18,400 and 18,600. So today, in case if we see any upward activity, then I think around 18,600 we are going to see resistance, and below if we see any drop, then 18,400, 350 is going to act as very good support for the market.
Okay, all right. Let's also understand how the technicals are placed for some of the stocks that could be in focus today on back of news flow. The first and foremost name I want to flag off is Tata Motors. Now, what we're given to understand is the board of the company has approved partial divestment of investment in Tata Technologies through the IPO route. So that's some value unlocking that they're looking at, and they're going to be hiving off their stake, exiting probably exiting or partly exiting. We'll have to wait and see what the final details are like. But yes, Tata Tech IPO is something that will be a big talking point today. But let's understand, Srikanth, how's Tata Motors looking on the chart and what's the likely way forward?
Yeah, in fact, the pattern of the Tata Motors was not that great if we go through with the pattern of last few days, but a few months, sorry. But in last few days, we saw some recovery from the lower levels, maybe because of this news flow. So the stock was like moving upward since last 3-4 days. It was holding above the mark of 400, 405, even though there was weakness in the market. So based on the overall formation of the market and formation of the stock, we are of the view that it is heading for the levels of 430, 435, but we are expecting stock to remain in the range. So it is better to stay away from taking any specific position with a very short-term view. Yes, if there is a long-term or medium-term view, then certainly we should be buyer even at current levels. But with a very short-term view, I think it is better to stay away.
Okay, let's stick to the IPO alerts right now. General Atlantic and Kotak Mahindra Bank-backed company KFintech may be launching its IPO as soon as next week, and it's eyeing a valuation of 6,300 crores. Again, finer details are yet to be revealed. What will be Kotak's sort of stance or move here in the IPO, role to play in the IPO? But of course, it is one of the key companies that are invested in KFintech, so likely to be in the limelight today as well. Talk to us about Kotak Mahindra Bank and its chart. Last 1 month, it has been extremely quiet, extremely sluggish as well. So is that trend likely to sustain for a few weeks before any meaningful move downwards or otherwise?
Arun, I'm extremely sorry I cannot talk about Kotak Mahindra because I'm part of the Kotak Mahindra Bank.
Oh yeah, I missed that,
yes,
yeah.
Yeah, correct. But I think all this private banks especially, they are going to do well in next few quarters. And we should be buyer in all these banks on every day because all the stocks are going to perform, right from the top to bottom. All these large cap companies, small cap companies. So we need to be buyer in these particular sector on every day. So overall pattern is suggesting us that we are going to see a good amount of rally for next couple of quarters. So we should be buyer and we should be stay invested.
Okay, understood. Moving on to some names from the broader markets as well. KEC International, they've secured orders close to 1349 crore rupees across its various businesses, especially its T&D projects. T&D business has secured projects across India, SAARC, Middle East, America. So interesting order flow kicking in for KEC International. If you could shed some light on how the technicals are placed.
Yeah, technically, KEC International is exhibiting a lot of strength. It was consolidating above the important crucial level of 425, 413. But on Friday and yesterday also, we saw recovery towards the levels of 470, 480, where it has one leg of resistance. But above that, it has next level of resistance only around 550, where it has resistance of all-time highest level. So we are expecting stock to move towards 550, 560, and certainly it's a buy even at current levels and more on dips.
Okay. How about VGuard Industries? They're looking to acquire 100% stake in Sunflame Enterprises for 660 crore rupees, and this deal is expected to be finalized and closed by Jan 2023. Now, VGuard again, last 1 month, very quiet. But in the last 4-5 days, the stock is witnessing some kind of a momentum. Is that going to lead to a meaningful breakout? What do you think?
Yeah, the overall pattern of the stock is very bullish. I mean to say it is just moving up and up after hitting the levels of 180, and it is going up gradually. So now it is very close to its previous highest level, and on the dismissal of maybe 290 levels, we can expect rally towards 340 or 350. So again, here also we are expecting upward activity, but it will take time because the pattern is overall gradual. But eventually we are expecting stock to perform and to yield returns for investors.
Okay. Since you were talking about private sector lenders, I also wanted your view on a PSU bank as well. We're getting a few comments on Bank of India, Rahul, Sanjay. I can see their comments on our feed right now as we speak. So if you could tell us how Bank of India looks?
Yeah, for Bank of India, again, see, all these small size banks, which are like down for the longer period, now they are recovering back and they are crossing their crucial levels. I'm going to say in last 4 or 5 years, if we see their entire pattern, then since 2017, 2018, they were arresting at specific level like PNB, Bank of Baroda, or even Canara Bank. So Bank of India has also like broken the crucial level of 1995 in last few days, and it is holding well above the mark of 95, which is positive. So based on the formation, we are expecting stock to move towards 120, 130. And as I mentioned, I think all these stocks are going to perform much better in coming quarters. So we should be buyer, but buy on dips because currently they have rallied to their extreme levels. In case if there is any correction because of maybe valuations, because of maybe overall broader correction in the market, then certainly we should be buyer, but buy on dips.
Okay, all right. I have a query coming in from Saurabh. He's asking if Hindalco is good to buy at current levels or should one wait for a dip? Now, Hindalco, again, it's recovered quite well in the last 2 months. But if we look at the 1 month momentum, again, very, very flattish. So should one buy at these levels or wait to see how this plays out?
See, again, if there is a short-term view, then it's okay because then we can trade and we can exit out of the trade because it completely depends upon how Fed moves and they take overall stance on the credit policy. Also, there is like a news of recessionary sort of a scenario in coming few quarters. So all these things are not positive for the commodity sector. So if there is a long-term view, then we need to keep patience and we need to be buyer on dips. But if there is a short-term view, then certainly it's a buy at current levels because stock was correcting from last 3-4 days and it is now very close to its important support area of 450, 460. So from here again, we are expecting stock to move towards 475 or 480. So it's a buy, but with a very short-term view.
All right. Okay. Ashok is writing to us for your view on, for your short-term view on IRCTC. He's been holding since the split. Now, IRCTC hasn't really caught on to that rally or to that party that, most of these railway engineering stocks were having. Of course, IRCTC as a service is also completely different. Now, last 1 month again has been weak for this one. How is it likely to be in the next few weeks or months over the short term?
Yeah. In fact, see, IRCTC is not participating in the entire move of PSU stocks, but it is not falling below the crucial level of 700. It is in fact forming some range-bound sort of activity. And the entire pattern is suggesting us that it is moving upward gradually. So based on the formation, we are expecting stock to move towards at least 750, 760 in the near term. And on Monday, I'm going to say yesterday, the stock has formed reversal formation. So maybe in today's date, the stock should perform and we can keep stop loss somewhere close to yesterday's lowest level, which is around 710. We are expecting stock to move towards again 750, 760. All
right. Okay. We were discussing KEC International, but I also want to pull up another name from the cap goods space, which is Siemens. Dinesh is writing to us about the same. How's Siemens looking vis-a-vis a KEC?
I think Siemens is showing a lot of strength after this specific news flow. It was like consolidating, but now it has broken all important resistance levels around 3,000, 2,950, and it is moving up on a consistent basis. So based on the formation, we are expecting stock to move towards at least 3,100, which was its previous highest level. But based on valuations and based on the broader formation of the stock, I think it is going to find resistance somewhere close to 3,100, 3,150. So we need to be careful if we see the stock is very close to 3,100. But if there is any fall, then we should be buyer. We like, in fact, ABB, which is currently around 3,000, 350 sort of levels. There we are expecting stock to move towards again 3,300 in next maybe few weeks.
All right. Okay. Adani Green seems to be another hot favorite, and we keep getting a lot of questions about Adani Group stocks in general. But Adani Green right now specifically, I want to know how it's looking, because again, this one has given up some gain, 7-8% on the downside last 1 month.
Yeah, in fact, since March, the stock is not doing anything great. It was like falling at the beginning, and later on now we are seeing some sideways sort of activity. I think the stock is now very close to its lower boundary of the entire trading range. It was between the range of 1800 and 2800 on the high side. So from here, if we see any reversal activity, then we should be buyer. But I think there is no actually any clarity about whether the stock is reversing or not. So till the stock is not forming any reversal formation, it is better to stay away.
Okay, all right. How's Inox Leisure looking? Ashok is writing to us about this one. And of course, the merger story looks like more or less has played out with, Inox and PVR. There's a good rebound in footfall as well. So there are good and interesting levers in place as far as the fundamentals go. But if we look at purely the technical standpoint, is Inox looking attractive?
Yeah, Karunya, it is very much attractive. It's a buy even at current levels. Even though we have seen rally from the levels of 450 to almost 550, we are of the view that it is going to surpass its previous high, which is somewhere close to 600. The overall formation is suggesting us that it is going up gradually, but it is eventually going to cross its previous high. So even at these levels, it's a buy. We are bullish on Inox as well as PVR, and both the patterns are suggesting us that the entire, all these particular, these two stocks are going to do well in the near term.
Okay. Now, I want to pick out Varun Beverages. Sandeep is sending us a query about Varun Beverages. This one has been a clear star performer for the year 2022. It did get a little it started plateauing, but again, last 1 week, we've seen some momentum building up there again. Does this rally have more legs? Even those who missed out the uptick in Varun Beverages in the early part of the year, should they dip in right now at 1380 levels?
Yeah, so it's a purely fundamental play, and every time the stock is, I'm to say the company is reporting decent numbers, and whenever the company is reporting its number, it rallies to the next level. Based on extensions, because now the stock is into new territory or uncharted territory. So based on extension, we can expect stock to move towards 1550 or 1600, which is again decent upside from current levels. And yesterday's sell-off was like somewhere close to 1370, 1380. But in case if we see the stock is coming back to the levels of 1300, then there the stock is having very good support. We should be buyers somewhere close to 1300 with a medium term.
Okay, all right. Quickly then, your view on Biocon as well, just the last query before we wrap up. How is it looking for the medium to long term?
I think this stock is forming very clearly a bearish formation. It is consistently falling from the highs of 400. It is forming lower top, lower bottom. This time also the stock is falling, and maybe the stock may again retest the levels of 250, 260, which was its lowest level of last 2 months. So there we are expecting stock to fall. Entire pharma sector is suggesting us that we are going to see some rally in the near term because of some recessionary sort of scenario is building up in the world market. So in that particular, most of the time we see activity in pharma companies. But Biocon is still underperforming, and it is better to stay away from taking any position in it.
All right. Okay, noted. What about your own picks that you want to flag off to our viewers? Which stocks are you keeping on your radar?
Yeah. So we are like specifically bullish on hospitals and related those stocks. We should be buyer if there is any correction. In last few days, we saw some corrective pattern in Apollo Hospital. Yesterday, we saw reversal pattern, and it closed above its previous high. So we are expecting stock to move towards 4,900. We should be buyer at current levels with a stop loss somewhere close to 4,600. And also we like State Bank of India, which is around 612, 613. There we are expecting stock to move towards 625. We can keep stop loss somewhere close to 608.
Okay, so SBI and Apollo Hospitals, 2 picks for your, from Shrikant of Kotak Securities. Thank you so much, Shrikant, for joining in and sharing your thoughts and your observations on a host of stocks with us and our viewers. On that note, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching.